Today, I want to address those walking in any sort of spiritual path. See, the idea and the practice of walking in a spiritual path goes long back. As far as you can go in human history, you will see that there are groups of people who have sought out the most craziest of ideas and have dedicated their lives to these crazy ideas. Now, if you are one of those people, I must warn you about an epidemic. An epidemic that has plagued the so-called spiritual society for hundreds of years now. See, ever since Gautama, who is better known as the Buddha, preached, there has been a clash of spiritual sects on the idea of living. All spiritual sects came to this unanimous majority of agreement that a spiritual man must be a minimalist, must have a minimum lifestyle, must not consume more than he needs, and has no right to have any sort of luxury. This idea, although it has some basis in spirituality, this idea is not completely, wholly understood by the spiritual society of today. What we see amongst those people who follow this idea is that they end up homeless, they start losing their jobs, they feel that they do not need money anymore, which is absurd, because from the time when they did not understand what spirituality or money actually was, they grew up trying to embrace money as a form of exchange. Now, what you have embraced over your lifetime, you cannot just decide one day to give it up. And if you do decide to give it up, you will obviously end up a minimalist, having the least of life. See, as the story goes, when the Buddha was asked, how do we find peace, by his disciples, he said, desire is suffering. See, what he meant was not to give up desire completely uproot it from yourself, but to understand how desire works. See, the mechanics of desire is that when in inappropriate proportions, it can become a sort of disease, a cancer. Anything that grows out of proportion multiplies without any restriction becomes a cancer. And the Buddha knew that. And he expressed to his disciples that their longing, their wants, their desires, being so many in number, they had become an obstacle to obtaining anything. Because when you desire a lot of things, it is absolutely hard to obtain them all. You can desire anything. You can desire the entire universe. You can desire all you want. But how do you obtain the universe? See, the Buddha did not say to get rid of this idea of obtaining the universe. He said, look into it. Why do you want everything? Why do everyone want everything? This desire is the idea that leads to spirituality. The minimalist idea came along with the sense that you cannot obtain everything, but I don't feel that that is the case. What is obtaining? Let's come to terms with how we see obtaining. What is obtaining? What is getting something? What does it mean to have something? It means that whenever you want, you can influence it the way you want it. You have some control over that thing. Whatever you want, that is. Whatever it is you want, you have control over it. That's getting something, the thing you want. Now, is it possible to get the whole universe? To obtain the whole universe? The Buddha says that his desire is suffering. See, the pupils did not understand that if you desire what you already have, you will never get anywhere because you already have it. You have already obtained the universe, and as a result, you cannot obtain anything more. See, if a person got to become God suddenly, one day he woke up and he was God, what would he do? He would go along and enjoy his lust for his sexual desires towards men, women, animals, whatever. Then he will start appreciating other things because he will get tired of his lust at one point. He will start appreciating music. He'll start appreciating movies. He'll start appreciating what's beautiful about the outside world. And then when he gets bored of that, he will start to create things. He will start creating things, and at one point he will get bored of creating as well. And at one point when of this getting bored, he will start to question himself. God will ask himself questions which obviously do not have any answers. If God ever asked himself, who created me, he'd just get frustrated and angry if he were to be human. That is. So God, after all his desires, God realized that these desires were causing him to question, to not understand. By questioning, we mean that we do not understand. That's what a question means, that we do not understand. So he does not understand why he does what he does. So he says, get lost. Get lost. I don't want this. He just doesn't want it anymore. Doesn't want to be God anymore. And he says, get lost. And he's lost. And he's lost and he's trying to remember, but he can't, because he has so many desires in his way. So in the spiritual society today, the getting rid of desires is not getting rid of your expensive phone or watch or car. No. Getting rid of desire is to give up the habit of desiring. Give up the habit of feeling incomplete. Feeling that you do not have something, there is something to want. That is getting rid of desire.